How's everyone doing? Really? Long night? How's everyone doing? All right, it's great to be here. Thank you, Todd. And also, just big round of applause for Todd and Jennifer, Megan, the whole All Things Open team. So how many of you are here for the first time at ATO? Wow, amazing. It's great to see so many familiar faces and so many new faces. So I'm going to talk for a few minutes, and then we're going to get to the more important part of this, which is our keynote speakers today. So we all know it when we see it, right? When people come together into communities, they build technology, they do documentation, they further diversity and inclusion, they do translations. People get together to build amazing things. And this is one of the things I love about coming to ATO every year, is that we see this time and time again. The first time I really kind of understood this was when I was at Canonical and we were building the Ubuntu community. I'd been in open source at that point for about 6 or 7 years. But seeing the passion in that group of people all over the world was really inspiring. And what really kind of made it for me was when I'd been at Canonical for about 6 months, and I got an email from a kid who was based in Africa. And he told me that he didn't have a computer at home, and he would do chores around his village to earn money. And then he'd walk 2 hours to his local town. He'd use that money to buy internet access. He'd contribute to Ubuntu, and he'd walk 2 hours back. And it absolutely blew me away at what people are willing to do when they're part of a movement. And everyone in this room is part of a movement. Everyone in this room, whether you've been here and you're in open source for less than 2 weeks, or whether you've been here for 25 years, everybody has got something to offer. Everybody has got something to bring. Now, I was born and raised in Northern England, which is an incredibly boring part of the world to be born and raised in. Anyone here from England? Yeah, you probably agree. This is the town I used to live in called Northallerton. This is what I looked like before my hair started growing inwards and coming out my toes. And when I was growing up, people would always say to me, people don't know their neighbors like they did back in the good old days. And it was this kind of refrain that, you know, the internet, and which was in the early stages when I was growing up, and TVs and movies and things like that, were kind of ruining this sense of community. And what's interesting is that since those days, we've seen the opposite of that. We've seen the huge growth of Wikipedia, where anybody can go online and learn something. We've seen the massive impact of open source, which obviously everybody in this room is familiar with. We've seen the democratization, the maker revolution, the atoms and bits kind of coming together. We've seen the democratization of funding with crowdfunding. And we've seen so many of these examples. Harley-Davidson have got 1,400 local user groups around the world where they get together to talk about bikes. I already talked about Ubuntu. You know, we built a community of about 60 million users and about 280,000 active participants. People were doing documentation and translations and more. We've seen Airbnb. They built a huge global community of hosts to help people rent out their properties. Star Citizen have raised over $150 million. Actually, I learned yesterday they've raised over $600 million to build their game. I'm not sure if they've actually released it yet. Lego Ideas. People who propose ideas for Lego sets, Lego actually puts them out into the market. And one of my favorites is Hit Record, which was founded by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, which is where people come together. Someone does the green screen, somebody does the music, somebody writes the script, somebody does the acting. Some of these productions have been showcased at Sundance. It's phenomenal what's possible when we get together to build things together. And one of the finest examples of this in place is in the open source world. It's the CNCF, it's Sneak, the Linux Foundation, AWS, Docker, HackerOne. Of course, Martin is here as CEO of HackerOne. We've seen the impact of community in every conceivable way in which we collaborate as human beings. And what's interesting to me about this is not just some happy kind of riding a unicorn towards a rainbow kind of happy slappy thing. It's real. Slashdata interviewed 17,500 developers, and look at the top 3. Open source communities, social media, community websites and forums. This is where developers go to find information to stay up to date, to build things. So the reason why this happens is because fundamentally what a community is it's a network of minds. It's a group of people. Everybody's got different talents and experience and perspectives. Every single person in this room looks at the world through a slightly different lens. Everyone in this room has a different background, has something different to offer. And that's one of the reasons why I absolutely love coming to All Things Open, is because this is what we do. I don't want you to just go to the talks today and listen. I want you to go to the talks, listen, and then walk out of the talks and share what you learned, share your experiences, share your perspectives. And especially for those of you who are new at this, where you might feel, you know, I don't really know a lot of this. There's all of these people, they seem to know each other. I'm new here, right? Don't let that hold you back, because everybody has got something to offer.